feels like there's always long periods between when I play this game and whatnot, and yeah. Though I'm not sure how much of it is a game at this point, but we'll see. So anyways, so I think we were like in the middle of night 4. Yeah, they want us to go reach out to the different people. You know, they don't put the names here. I do remember who the 4 people are. We've got the Nosferatu guy who's got connections or whatever. There's a Gangrel, which is one of the like wild park people or whatever. We've got a Tremere that I've got to go talk to, and then I don't remember who the 4th person was. Oh, Malkavian. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna talk to. I think I'm gonna take a wild guess that this guy is the Nosferatu guy. Oh, it actually says which one is which. Okay. So I can choose which one to accept. D'Angelo. Okay. A recent string of violent killings has the Red Hook district of Brooklyn on edge. Sophie mentioned that Kadir Al-Azmai has a secret associate investigating the murders of Nosferatu neonate by the name of D'Angelo. If you help him out, he might be persuaded to form a lasting partnership. Jezebel's Childer. Sophie mentioned a gangrel neonate by the name of Tamika who's made herself a haven in Prospect Park. The Ferals aren't exactly a social bunch, even by kindred standards, but if you can keep her from clawing your eyes out for just long enough, she might be persuaded to join you. Sophie suggests you meet Hope, a reclusive member of the Malkavian clan. She's supposedly holed up in an internet cafe in Lower Manhattan. It's a kind of... I love that song. Sophie's mention of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction to the bizarre powers of the Tremere. Alright, I want to start off with the murders guy, because I'm curious about how that will go. As you make your way down Clinton Street, the incessant hum of traffic gives way to the ominous silence of the waterfront. You stop taking the familiar bouquet of the Hudson, made all the more potent by your recently sharpened senses. Across the basin, the Red Hook grain terminal rears its rusty frame. Once a bustling industrial area, now a sleeping giant splayed out on the riverbank, forgotten, abandoned. Conveniently so, especially for one of the hidden. Keeping to the shadows, you sneak closer to the dilapidated complex, making your way past hole-ridden silos and wobbly chain-link fences. By the time you reach the entrance to the main building, you can almost feel the rust particles making themselves cozy at the back of your throat. I feel like I yawn them every time I'm, like, playing this fucking game. I don't know if it's just, like, the time I'm playing or what. Not getting your hopes up, you give the door a slight nudge. To your surprise, it gives almost instantly. Looks like someone's been using it recently. Once inside, you find yourself in a large empty hall. Looking around, you can almost picture it back in its heyday, stacked to the rafters with heavy machinery. You notice a set of stairs leading up to a mezzanine, most likely an office space, and then you see it, a faint light coming from one of the upper rooms. Looks like you're in luck. Quietly, with bated breath, you climb the steps and approach the... I thought we don't breathe. You climb the steps and approach the dimly lit room. The door creaks open, revealing what looks like an old-timey detective's office, complete with crooked window blinds, an overflowing ashtray, and paper scattered across a wooden desk. Suddenly, it hits you, that nagging feeling. This is all too convenient, too inviting. Before you can react, the trap is already sprung. A plume of cigar wafts over your shoulder. The barrel of a gun rubs against your spine. A raspy voice whispers in your ear. Let me guess, took a wrong turn at the third silo? I don't want to use my powers because I want to genuinely get him to trust me. You decide to play along. Raise your arm slowly. You weigh your next words carefully. Pretty sure a bullet to the back wouldn't kill you, but it doesn't sound too pleasant either. How about we talk like civilized kindred? So this isn't bloodsuckers enough. Okay. I might actually say this in like a nervous like laugh type thing. Even this isn't Bloodsuckers Anonymous. A noise rattles behind your head like someone shook a can full of gravel. It might have been a chuckle, but your guess is as good as anyone's. Wise guy, huh? Luckily for you, I have a soft spot for wise guys, so I'll give you a chance to explain yourself. In a strange interplay of light and shadow, the stranger reappears behind his desk. Seeing him in his full, for lack of a better word, glory, you can't help but smirk. This is the dreaded Nosferatu? The way Sophie described him, you were expecting some grotesque monstrosity, but this guy, the clothes, the swagger, the hard-boiled detective routine, it all comes across as a bad joke. Still, when it comes to appearance, his lineage is undeniable. From 30 feet away, he probably passed for a bum with a nasty skin condition. From 5 feet away, he looks like something made to be seen from 30 feet away. He leans back in his chair, casually pointing his gun at you. So, what brings you to my humble office? Are you D'Angelo? You the one they call D'Angelo? That's my name, kid. Don't wear it out. My friends call me Jin. So you best stick to D'Angelo for the time being. Now I suggest you tell me what this is about. Otherwise, I kindly ask you to get the fuck out of my office. I can see why Kadir keeps you. I know. Drop the act. I know you work for Kadir Al-Azmai. His expression sours. Not a name you want to casually toss around, kid. But hey, I get it. You're not some random schmuck who wandered in here off the street. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Who I work for is less important. What I'm working on, however... I know. I'm here to help. The Red Hook murders. I know. I want to help you catch the killer. His moldy lips twist into a smile. Do you now? D'Angelo lowers his shades. For a few seconds, he sits motionless with his eyes fixed on yours. Suddenly, he raises his gun, almost making you flinch. Almost. Then, he twists his shoulder... twirls into his shoulder holster in a flashy display that definitely looks like it was practiced. A lot. In front of a mirror. You see the Nosferatu's lips move, but the quiet mumbling clearly isn't meant for your ears. Listening in, you're able to catch snippets of his monologue. Sure, they seem to care. What was the end game? What was their angle? Everybody's got one, even if they pretend they don't, especially then. What the hell? Maybe this town finally got to me. Wait, hang on. Oh, whoops. Okay. For some reason, I'm reading that, and I don't know. He pauses, take a fresh hicks a fresh cigar between his crooked teeth. Maybe a good leap of faith is just what the doctor ordered. Are you... Yeah, actually, I want to know, is he narrating? Are you narrating? For a second, he looks at you like a kid caught with his hand in a cookie jar. Then a wry smile comes back and he lights up. Tell you what, kid. I ain't sold yet, but I can see you got some potential, so here's how it's gonna be. I was just about to head back to the crime scene, take a look around, refresh my notes. You can tag along if you want to. I could use an assistant, someone to take notes and make wild assumptions for me to shoot down. Who knows, if you're any good, I might consider making this a long-term arrangement. Sounds good? Sure it does, kid. I'm the one who said... One more thing. You still got me at a disadvantage here. Seems like you've done some digging on me, but with you, I've barely scratched the surface. You catch my drift? So answer me this. Who was it that sent you into my neck of the woods? Or in layman's terms, who do you work for? It's fair. Sophie Langley. For the first time since he got here, the Nosferatu adopts a look of genuine surprise. His eyes wander for a moment, finally giving way to a crooked smile. So you're the one, huh? The fledgling the Toreador dame spared? Yeah, that would make sense. Don't think she'd appreciate you throwing her name around. Thanks for being up front, kid. One blink is enough for you to miss D'Angelo vanishing from his chair. Just when you're about to look around, he appears right next to you. Up close, his smile is even more unnerving. Alright, moonlight's burning. Let's get cracking. With a certain fascination, you watch D'Angelo stumble his way across West Brooklyn. Oddly animated, incessantly scratching his face and neck, stopping every once in a while for a bout of mumbling narration. He is most certainly a sight to behold. Still, he seems to be getting around okay, and you take particular note of the fact that he seems to be choosing the darker, less frequented streets. There is definitely a method to his madness. Eventually, your leprous guide takes a sudden turn off Van Brunt Street and into a particularly dingy alleyway. The torn pieces of yellow police tape are a dead giveaway. This has to be the place. Well, here we are. Time for you to earn your stripes. This is where they found him, drained dry. Not a drop of blood in him. And before you ask, no. I didn't get to see the body, so I don't know if there were any bite marks. So, what can you tell me? Take a moment to examine the crime scene. Judging by the chalk outline on the pavement, the man was killed recently. Curiously, there doesn't appear to be a trace of blood or viscera, and you know the city's cleanup crew isn't that fast or that thorough. Looking up, you notice a spray-painted sign on the wall. It reads "The Blood Speaks" in big, crooked letters. You looked at D'Angelo. The Nosferatu gives you an expecting look. How come there's no blood? You say the victim, because I don't see a trace of blood anywhere. Good eye, kid. It's the details that count. And given that the murder was committed right here and the victim didn't make a sound, we can therefore conclude that either way, I could see it going either way. Killer uses a sedative. And then what? Pump out the blood without spilling a drop? People nearby? Nah, kid, only one set of tools can do it this quietly. He smiles and taps himself on one of his fangs. We're looking for a kindred, but not just any kindred. Take a look at that graffiti. What do you think it means? I'm not sure. It's meant to throw us off, or it seems desperate. It seems desperate. My thoughts exactly. It's as if someone wanted to get a message across, but was too scared to stick around and write the whole damn book. So we got the abridged version. Tell me, if you were to guess, which clan would you say our killer belongs to? I mean, based on my character's knowledge of them, I'm not gonna say Thin Bloods. The whole magic the whole blood speaks thing, I could see it being a magic thing, but I'm not sure. Also, I'm just noticing there are people moving in the background here. Cool. And I know that he said something about insanity for Malkavians, but that they have a unique perspective or whatever, so maybe it's Malkavian serial killer. They're pretty nuts, right? Nah, kid, the movies can be a bit playful, but there's a method to their madness. It leaves a certain aftertaste. This right here just reeks of desperation. I might be jumping to conclusions, but my money's on the Thin Bloods. He pauses, spits on the mangled remains of a cigar. Shit, looks like we're gonna have to pay Larson a visit. Larson was... Hang on, I remember Larson. I have to actually look that up. I have to make sure I'm not messing up and okay. Yeah, I remember. Okay, okay. Um, I I think yeah, okay. Why? I don't know if I want to say. Well, I want to know why him. Why him? Gee, kid, I don't know, cause he's just a swell guy to talk to, or maybe because he's a thin blood primogen. Not sure if he knows who. Yeah, but he could probably make an educated guess. In any case, we'd be doing him a favor. As if it turns out one of his is violating the masquerade, it would put him in a hell of an awkward position. And I mean shitting upside down awkward. It's the kind of weakness the other primogen would love to exploit. His position in the council is bad as it is. He pauses for a moment and mumbles to himself, but it's too quiet for you to make out. Finally, lights up a fresh cigar. He takes a puff and lets the smoke escape through his crooked smile. Alright, kid, let's get this over with. Compared to the industrial ugliness of Red Hook, Sterling Place is quite a change of scenery. The heavily gentrified and pleasantly dull residential area emanates the sort of peaceful apathy that rich hipsters scoff at and blue-collar workers dream of. All of a sudden, the Nosferatu stops. It almost seems like he was taking a deep breath, steeling himself for things to come. This is the place. With that, he points to a surprisingly nice-looking two-story house. The place is almost completely dark. Almost. You notice a dim light shining through the curtains of an upper story window. It's probably safe to assume that the head of the family is working late, especially if the head of the family happens to be a vampire. Okay, kid, we gotta be gentle about this. I'm talking velvet gloves, soft cushions. You rang my lord gentle. We need to get Larson out here without making a fuss or letting his family see us. If we blow this, he'll shut down like a speakeasy on raid night. Trust me, I know. Okay, so what's the plan? Tell you what, how about you take the lead on this one? I'm curious to see how you handle it. Take a step back and look around the area. The lit up window seems like a safe bet. Now it's just a matter of getting Larson's attention. His and no one else's. As you're trying to come up with a viable strategy, you are suddenly startled by a loud noise. It takes you a second to identify the sound as a dog's barking. It doesn't take you long to figure out where it came from as a bearded man leading a Rottweiler on a leash comes into view. Feeding opportunity. A man walking. I'm not gonna. No. Ring the doorbell. Or no, just throw a small rock at the window. Kneel down and pick a rock off the lawn. One small enough not to break glass, but big enough to get someone's attention. Deftly, you chuck the rock at the window. Bounces off the glass with a quiet but audible thunk. Moments pass in silence, making you think no one got your message. But as you start to look for another rock, you hear the window slide open. A very unassuming and slightly unshaven man in a turtleneck appears at the window. As soon as he notices you, his expression showers like he just smelled something rotten. He addresses your Nosferatu partner in what could only be described as a very loud and very angry whisper. Get the fuck off my lawn, D'Angelo. You know goddamn better than to show your ugly mug around here. You glance over to D'Angelo. He looks somewhat embarrassed, scratching the back of his neck. Clearly trying to find the right angle to play this. This is important. Wouldn't bother you if this wasn't important. Cruggles, stay where you are. You wait out on the lawn, listening to Larson quietly making his way downstairs. Before long, he appears on the porch, locking the front door behind him. He motions at you to follow him off to the side of the house. There, he turns towards you. What do you want? It's about the Red Hook murders. We think one of yours is responsible. Bullshit. A Dustborn's got enough trouble just staying alive out here. What could possibly make them openly violate the masquerade? Desperation. The killer's been leaving messages. Whoever they are, I think they know something. Something they can't just share with just anyone. I know it seems far-fetched, but it's the only way this puzzle fits together. Nah, I don't buy it. You're reaching, trying to find a scapegoat, get in your boss's good graces. Word gets around, D'Angelo. You think I don't know who you're working for? Then help us clear your name. Then help us clear your people's name. What have you got to lose? Everything. I've been a thorn in the council's side for a while now. This is just the excuse they need to get rid of me. What if it turns out one of yours did it and you sit on your hands to protect him? Think the council won't jump on that? He looks off into the darkness, pondering his options. He lets out a heavy sigh. Look, I'll ask around, consult my sources. If it turns out one of my own is responsible, they will face justice. In the meantime, keep your deductions to yourself. I have enough trouble as it is. Deal. Good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to my family. And with that, Larson retreats to the elusive safety of his home. You decide it's best to move along. You walk a couple blocks in utter silence. Even D'Angelo's mumbling seems to have taken a back seat. Oddly enough, you find his newfound reticence somewhat unnerving. Finally, the Nosferatu stops and turns towards you. Hell of a night. I don't know about you, kid, but I sure could use a drink. Something warm in a tall, sweaty glass. But first, let me tally your score. Let's see now. You did make a good first impression. I like someone who can talk themselves out of a tight spot. Talking's cheap. Bullets, not so much. You held your own at the crime scene. Nothing I hadn't figured out on my own, but hey, we can't all be professionals. Finally, when the situation called for subtlety, you managed to avoid unwanted attention. Discretion is what separates a private dick from any old dick. All in all, you did fine. Not fine, but not bad for your first case. Don't let it get to your head. I'll be in touch. Let you know if I hear from Larson. Be ready to meet me at the office. He starts to walk away, but suddenly stops and turns back toward you. And bring a notepad. Every good assistant should have one. Okay, so I've got probably a little more time to do another thing, right? Oh, I need to rest. I can't. Okay. You notice something strange by the front door of your haven. A letter's been slipped under the door in a cream-colored old-fashioned envelope. There's no name on it, but you know it's meant for you. Opening the letter, it's clear it's been sent by someone incredibly old-fashioned, rich, or a fan of classic stationery. No normal person sends letters like this. The note is short and terse, written in delicate handwriting. You're cordially invited to a rendezvous at the Cathedral of St. John, the Divine. I'll be waiting to make your acquaintance tomorrow night. Look for me closer to God. There is no other information. It looks like you have a mysterious invitation for the following night. Okay, and then now it starts to... Let's see. I think it's only been 20 minutes. I think I'll do another thing. I do need to start working on getting, Well, I do want to see what this thing is. Faith and Myth, Part 1. You received a mysterious invitation to... An invitation to meet a mysterious someone at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Alright, yeah, let's go see what this is. You haven't been to a church since you became a vampire, or kindred as the euphemism goes. You've had to focus on concrete, practical things like survival and feeding. You've learned the essentials of the vampire experience, but you don't really have a clear idea of what it all means. The Cathedral of St. John is the Divine is a New York landmark. You've been inside once when you were much younger. You marveled at its Gothic facade. Looking at it now from across the street, it feels ominous. The prospect of an anonymous invitation to a secret meeting is a worrying one, but the venue is well chosen. It's hard to imagine a violent attack in a place like this, with eyes everywhere. You enter the cathedral discreetly. You've quickly learned this is an essential skill for a vampire, how to move without anyone noticing you. The full force of the cathedral's architecture hits you as you walk between the pews. If the architect meant to create the feeling of being small in the face of God's glory, mission accomplished. Based on the note, you're assuming that whoever you're meeting is somewhere in the front. As you step closer to the high altar, it feels as if something is dragging at your feet, as if the stone beneath you resisted your movement. Vampires. Does God still listen to you? Religion, yeah, religion is superstition. Religion is superstition. It must be your nerves. As you try to shake the feeling of crushing foreboding, it occurs to you that vampires are a superstition too. There's an old man sitting in the front. You only see the back of his head, bowed down in silent prayer. Your footsteps echo on the floor and he turns to look at you. You can't take your eyes off him. He's tall, dignified, white hair balding, a few strands escaping to the sides. He's wearing glasses and simple clerical clothing. His eyes are warm and pale, too kind for someone like you. Something is wrong. You feel heavy, as if a giant hand was pressing you down. The skin on your face is burning. Perhaps unconsciously, you expected something like this, as a vampire walking into a cathedral. Only it's not the building or God making you feel like you're burning alive. It's the man, the priest. The priest. Welcome, my child. The priest's tone is kind, but the rising panic inside is telling you that kindness is not for the likes of you. Confront the priest. I need to understand why he's called me over. The only way to understand these painful feelings is to push forward and confront the priest. As you step closer to the priest, panic rises inside you. The emotions are hard to control. Fear, anger, pain, all trying to wrestle you in different directions, away. Can I help you? Are you okay? The priest talks to you like he would a lost vagrant who has chosen to enter the house of God. How are you doing this? I'm afraid I don't understand. It's simply too much. You mutter something incoherent in reply. You don't sound like a vampire, an undead being made powerful by immortal blood. You're just another sad, confused, lost soul. You turn around and stagger away, only feeling like yourself once you're back on the street outside. You stand on the sidewalk confused and scared. No enemies seem to be attacking you. The priest didn't follow you. The night air is wet with the smells of the city, the same as every night. How did it feel? You look at the man speaking to you. He's well dressed, if a little archaic. Dark-haired, handsome, like a character from an old movie. He smiles as if he knows something you don't. You glance around. There are people on the street. You don't appear to be in immediate danger. Did you do this to me? No, absolutely not. Let me introduce myself. My name is Benoit Sigal. I'm hoping I pronounced the name correctly. We share many things in common, even if you don't know me. Benoit offers his hand to you. I shake hands. He looks at you intently, as if trying to find something in your eyes. Would you mind sitting with me for a moment? Benoit points to a park bench nearby, in darkness because of a broken streetlight. Wary, you decide to follow him. Only an enemy, totally unconcerned with the masquerade, would attack you here. Benoit sits down and you follow suit. For a moment, you both contemplate the cathedral in silence. I know how it feels, what you just felt. I have experienced it myself many times. For a moment, you consider how to respond. It's clear Benoit sent the invitation to come here and orchestrated this little setup. Why did you invite me? What's the point? Why did you go to the trouble of getting me here? We share a connection, you and I. I'll explain it later, but right now, the important thing is that it's so much easier to show than to tell. I wanted you to meet Father Anthony, or see him, experience him. Did you wonder why it felt like that? Is it a supernatural power? Was it some kind of supernatural power? No, not at all. I don't think so. It's his faith that makes you feel like that. He's safe in his belief while you were one of the damned. Do you ever wonder what's the role of a vampire in God's creation? You stop to think. Of course you've wondered what this is all about, whether it's God or nature. You don't really know what being a vampire means. That's the trouble with the masquerade. A human faced with a human problem can go online and find something that helps. You can't. The masquerade means that everything there is to know about your condition is secret, hidden away. You're left relying on the unreliable opinions of people like Benoit. Suddenly, Benoit takes your hand and presses it against his chest. As he stares into your eyes, you feel his heart stop. My heart no longer beats, yet I move, I talk. Is that how God intended us to be? There's a natural... I don't know if at this point I believe in a God or not, so there's a Whoa, I don't believe in the supernatural. There's a natural explanation for all of this. We just don't know it. Maybe there is. I don't know either. But I know that Father Anthony's faith is real. Sometimes I'm skeptical too, but in Father Anthony's presence, I know faith is real. I know it because it hurts so much. But perhaps you have questions about faith and our kind. Wait, what do you mean? I don't understand what they're referring to by the stories thing. Perhaps we are... Yes, what are we? There is the usual story, which most of us believed, especially before modern times. Cain was the first murderer. As punishment, God cursed him to walk in darkness and carry his mark. Cain passed on his curse as he drank the blood of the living, and thus we were born. God's curse passed on to someone new with each embrace. Maybe it's true. We all have our lineages, our sires and the sires of our sires. If you trace those lineages all the way to the top, you find Cain, the original vampire. I suppose God is cruel. The curse perpetuates itself, leading to new evils. This is a lot to take in. All these myths, hard to know what to believe. I know it's overwhelming. It was for me when I first met Father Anthony. I know there are others like him, whose faith shines like a beacon. Priests, old ladies, children, anyone can have that conviction inside them. It's too much. You expect me to go along with all this insanity? Benoit nods patiently. Let's meet again in a few nights here at the cathedral. We can talk more after you've thought it through. You leave Benoit sitting in the shadow of the cathedral, contemplating what lies within. It would be easier to ignore his words without the reality of what you experience. Father Anthony was holy. You know it to be true. But what does that mean? I hope that doesn't... Okay, I was going to say, I don't want to end the night there. Alright, I want to... Sophie, yeah, I want to do the gangrel thing next. Just why not? If you can keep her from clawing your eyes out just long enough, she might... Okay. You make your way through the Grand Army Plaza, passing the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Arch. You can't help but feel a tinge of nostalgia as you picture the place as you've seen it countless times, in broad daylight, teeming with life. You quickly get over it and pass through the northwest gate into Prospect Park. Wait, what area did I... Oh, okay, the plaza, okay. The park... Wait. Yeah. Memory issues today, guys. The park is its usual maze of unkept foliage and dimly lit alleys. Silence hangs in the air, as it would at this time of night, and there doesn't appear to be any sign of kindred presence. You start to suspect Langley's sources fed her a bunch of bullshit, but you're not willing to give up just yet. As you ponder your options, you hear footsteps coming from behind a line of trees. Quick but evenly paced, most likely a late-night jogger. No vampire would take kindly to you feeding in their domain, but then again, perhaps you could kill two birds with one stone. It has been a little bit since I've fed. You lock onto the sound of the footsteps. Predicting the runner's path, you move swiftly, but quietly to intercept them. You hide behind a tree and wait for your prey to get closer. Mere seconds later, a man in an off-brand tracksuit trots into view. You notice the buds in his ear, beat-heavy music bleeding through. This should make things easier. Just as the man passes by, you emerge behind him and plant your hand firmly on his neck. He struggles at first, desperately trying to break free of your grasp, but as soon as your fangs pierce his skin, panic gives way to peaceful submission. You feel elated as the warm liquid trickles down your throat. The fresh vitae washes over your senses, sending an orgasmic shiver along your spine. Somewhere in the deepest, darkest crevices of your mind, the beast stirs in its slumber. You stop feeding just in time. Your hunger satiated, the beast fast asleep. You sit the dazed victim on a nearby bench. As the world comes back into focus, you realize that something is not right. In a split second, the air by the side of your head swirls like a vortex. Driven by sheer instinct, you lean back just as five finger-shaped razors cut through the darkness, missing your face by an inch. A clawed shadow jumps back a few paces, preparing to correct its mistake. You catch a glimpse of the assailant. Looks pretty animalistic, all right, but he's not the one you're looking for. For starters, it's a he. Just as he's about to lunge at you, a snarl resounds from the bushes nearby, stopping your foe in their tracks. Out of the shadows emerges a young woman. Wait. Oh, someone else's snarl. Out of the shadows emerges a young woman, baring her teeth over so slightly. She walks over calmly, her eyes fixed on your assailant. Her presence is enough to make him reconsider attacking you, but not to withdraw completely. He glances over to her, puffing up his chest. Stay out of it, Tam. I smelled him first. Tam, how about that? She raises an eyebrow, but remains silent. Her compatriot turns back toward you. You shouldn't have come here, pretty boy. I'm gonna fuck you up so bad you'll be wearing your tongue as a fucking necktie. Tamika looks at you expectantly. You know what? Easy. I'm not trying to... Yeah, easy there. I'm not looking for... Shut. You made your point, okay? Confirm badass. I'm not looking for a fight. Tamika tilts her head in a way that's barely noticeable, and yet strangely expressive. She's disappointed. The man loosens up, his lips twisting into a wry smile. Clearly, you just gave him the confidence boost he needed. Funny, you don't look like a pussy. You don't smell like one either, so why are you acting like one, huh? Well, guess what? You ain't getting off that easy, chicken shit. A fierce growl echoes across the alley, stopping the savage in his tracks. Tamika walks over to her comrade, her fangs glistening in the dim lamplight. She puts her hand on the side of his head, caressing his hair and tugging at his ear as if she was scolding a puppy. She leans over and speaks in a voice that's firm, yet oddly affectionate. It's okay, Raoul. I'll handle it from here. The male gangrel looks at her with a mix of timidity and resentment. Then he turns back towards you. Fine, they're not worth the effort anyway. Having said his piece, Raoul retreats into the shadows, although, if you were to guess, he's likely to stay within earshot. With your companion gone, Tamika turns to you once more. What do you want? Wait, so... Why did he leave? Okay, oh, so fucking... Okay, so he stopped, I think, because Tamika growled. Straight to the point, I like that. I could use your help. Short story, I'm new here and I'm looking for a chance to leave my mark. Maybe shake things up a bit in the process. I could use your help. Why me? My sources claim you're capable. Are they wrong? No, I guess not. But if you're so well informed, you should know that I don't whore myself out for mercenary work. I'm not hiring you. I'm offering you my help should you ever need it, and in time, perhaps also my friendship. Do I strike you as someone who needs a friend? Your sire abandoned you. I know what happened to Jezebel. Tough break. No wonder she got fed up with this town. But let's face it, she gave you the shaft. She abandoned you. I'm not going to. Her expression showers in an instant. You know nothing about her, about us. Tamika looks to the side as if you've hurt her feelings. From what you've seen so far, it's an oddly emotive reaction from her. Quick to realize it, she straightens up and turns her piercing gaze toward you. We have nothing more to talk about. Clearly we started off on the wrong foot. Yes, you did. Now leave. I will only ask. Damn it! And with that, you take your leave. You know better than to argue with a scorned gangrel. Still, you can't help but feel a fringe of regret. This could have been the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Yeah, I fucked that up, didn't I? Alright, well, I'm gonna end this episode here, because on that disappointment. You know what? Whatever. She's a weird bitch who wanted to see us fight instead of me trying to talk things down peacefully. So I'm not gonna be too upset about that. And then if it ends up fucking up with getting a good ending later, then I'll just, have to play again. So, laters, my Dudorinos.